Rev up your engines!
Well, get this. Volkswagen, Mercedes, and Stellantis lost $13 billion the other day in their stock value because of Tesla's Chinese breakthrough. Well, now here's the insane thing. Old Elon takes a trip to China, right? And says, oh, well, they're going to start using my self-driving technology. Blah, blah. So Tesla stock goes up. It jumped 12% on Monday because Elon takes a trip to China and says, oh, yeah, I got a deal going with them. This is insanity. This is total insanity. So Tesla's valuation went up $60 billion just because Elon went to China and then makes up some story about I got a deal going with the Chinese, right? Well, contrary to that, the European stocks, they dumped $12 billion in value because they all thought, oh, well, they're electric cars, Mercedes and those companies, they're not going to do good now because, oh, he's got a deal going with China. And they all dropped down. This stuff is all insane speculation. My advice is don't invest any of your money in any of these companies. They're thieves, they're cheaters, they're liars. They'll say anything to try to get their stock to go up. But as anybody with common sense is going to know, as you can tell by this picture, these are Chinese electric cars on their way to Europe, and they're going to underpin those European companies. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. European companies will probably have to put huge tariffs on it, right? Then the Chinese will counteract by tariffs against the European companies. It goes on and on. You know, I mean, what I don't understand is it's supposed to be a world economy. Why can't everything just roll out there the way that it goes, and whoever makes the lowest price, best vehicles, they be the winner, right? Let's face it. What are Americans driving these days? A lot of Toyotas, Hondas, right? Hey, they made better vehicles. Too bad. Why should you support crappy companies that make horrible vehicles? Just the other day, one of my customers, he had a brand new, not rebuilt, a brand new engine installed in his GM truck, right? He brings it over. What's that noise? I said, well, your lifters are gone. He says, I've only got 17,000 miles on this brand new engine I bought. I said, that's because they make everything like crap. The lifters are even made like crap, and they're breaking already, which is bizarre because this is an old GM truck, and the original engine went 300,000 trouble-free miles. Buys a new one because, well, that one's worn out, right? And then that short period of time later, the lifters go out inside the engine. Just shows you, hey, they're going to make crappy quality. Too bad. I say let them go. Let them go bankrupt. Who cares? Are we going to be driving a bunch of crap, having a bunch of crappy products because these guys want to make them as cheap as they can and then whine, oh, we have foreign competition, that's not fair. Hey, they do a better job building it for a lower price. Too bad. That's the way the cookies crumble. Well, now there's going to be mandated automatic braking for all vehicles. The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration says they all got to make them now, that they're going to have emergency braking if you're going fast and you're going to hit a vehicle in front of you, or if you're going up to 45 miles an hour and there's a pedestrian crossing, it's got to automatically brake for the pedestrian. Now, realize that recent testing shows that many automatic emergency braking systems have problems with bikes, large trucks, nighttime driving at higher speeds, but NHTSA says, you're all going to have to put this on all the cars that you build now. Whether it works right or not, there's the government for you, you know. NHTSA has officially finalized the new Federal Motor Vehicle Safety Standard, which is called FMVSS number 127. And that includes making automatic emergency braking standard on all passenger cars and light trucks by September 2029. So we're talking about 5 years down the line. Still got 5 years to go, 5 years and change, right? It's not September yet. Now, I mean, all and fine if they work, right? It says if you're going even 90 miles an hour and you're going to hit something, it'll automatically brake it. You know the systems themselves are going to break, right? And they'll probably lead to many accidents when some weird thing happens and they slam on the brakes and then there's a chain reaction of cars running into them on the highway. All softwares have glitches, right? I mean, it'll add to the price of the cars, that's for sure. They'll start costing more because they got to have these systems built into them that supposedly are going to start breaking. Who's to say whether they're going to work right or not? I've seen the systems in action. I've tried them out. They don't work all that well. They're certainly not fail-proof by any stretch of the imagination. The government's mandating them by 2029. Who knows? Maybe in the next 5 years they'll get them to work a lot better than they do now. Well, they talk about wind power, blah, blah. Listen to this. I can't help but laugh. U.S. wind generation fell in 2023 for the first time since the 1990s. They keep talking, we're building more windmills. The actual generated power that they made fell. In 2023, they generated 2% less than what they generated in 2022. Now, The capacity has increased. It's tripled between 2010 and 2023. Tripled the amount of generating power that they theoretically have, right? That's tripled. But since the 1990s, they always made more power. 2023 to 2024, the amount of power that came out was 2% less. This is with 3 times as many wind generating. Insane, you know? And here's, I can't help but laugh. The EIA electric generation thing says wind as a generation source is maturing after decades of rapid growth. Maturing my butt. They have 3 times as much generating power, and then they generated less power this year than they did last year. They blame on things like the wind didn't blow as much. This is insanity, right? They make 3 times as much, and now there's less electricity being generated. It makes no sense because, like I said, these wind turbines, they make no sense. They don't create that much electricity. They're not something that you can depend upon. There's not storage units to hold it. When it is windy and they make a lot of electricity, a lot of it is just wasted. They found in California the same thing with solar panels. When it was sunny a few days ago, they had to just dump a bunch of electricity because they couldn't use it all. It was making too much and they have no place to store it, right? Put it in thinking caps. Windmill technology is hundreds and hundreds of years ago. And before this wind turbine crap, right? Did you see many turbines? Did you see many windmills? No, it's old technology. You didn't see hardly any of them. Maybe in museums or, you know, some guy fixed up an old one and most of them weren't even working anymore, right? It's old technology. We've gone past that. Why are we going back to it? It's just plain stupid. Well, a massive new nuclear power plant just went online in Georgia, and they're saying it might be the last of its kind. Why? It costs too much money. They never want to put money into the infrastructure, right? It's so patently absurd. And whenever the government has anything to do with it, look at the Biden administration. We're putting $3 billion into electric charging stations for cars. 2 years later, they built 3 of them out of like 15,000 they're supposed to build. So, you know, anything the government has to do with this bunch of horsemen who would take forever, cost overruns. In this case, it was supposed to cost $15 billion for these 2 new nukes. There were 2 of them from the 80s there in Georgia, and then they added 2 more, and it was $30 billion instead of 15. They have all these government rules for them, and all the money just is thrown out. It's corrupt as can be. That's the main problem. I had a friend, his brother, worked when they were building a nuclear power plant in Clinton, Illinois, and if you ever read about that, the fraud that was going on, this guy's brother was an iron worker, and he worked the night shift. And at night, they took the scaffolding down. And in the daytime, another crew put the scaffolding up. Then that next night, they take the scaffolding down. Because if an inspector came, they'd see all these guys are working. They're not standing around doing nothing, right? And this went on for ages. The corruption is endemic with anything that has to do with government money. But it's a shame because it's a good way to make power. Right? It's not some fantasy about wind and solar and all that crap, right? It works. It works quite well. It's just that it's all been run by government horsemen who are idiots that don't know what they're doing. Then they just charge more money and they have cost overruns. Right? Then they make us pay more for the electricity. But at least it works, you know? I mean, it works. 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, it works. And it works for decades, too. People need to just shut up and do it right and stop wasting our taxpayer dollars because there's so much endemic corruption and anything that has to do with corporations and the government. Well, here's an insane situation. An Uber driver in Euclid, Ohio, takes a teenager who has a gun straight to the police station, and they arrest him. But here's the whole bizarro story. Once the guy who jumped in and said they were chasing him, as soon as he got in the car, these other guys were chasing him. And this vehicle then bumped the car. And he said, the people in the other car are going to shoot us. So the Uber driver goes to the police station, he starts honking his horn, the police come out. And even though the other idiots that are trying to shoot him finally figured out, uh-oh, we're at a police station, and they drove away. They checked the passenger, and he's carrying a gun. The teen passenger had a loaded weapon tucked inside his pants. He's already on juvenile probation. Now he's going to get more charges. I mean, we've got lunatics out there. You got teenagers with guns, kids on probation, he's got a gun. This is outside of Cleveland, not the safest place on the planet, right? Don't go to Cleveland at night, I'll tell you that. Stay away from Cleveland at night. The guy's dumb enough to tell him, take off, these guys are going to shoot us, right? Then he ends up getting arrested because he's got a gun and they're at the police station. The stupidity of these people are too much. Well, at least one more stupid criminal is in jail. Let's just hope that he doesn't get probation this time. Come on, don't let the kid loose. That's all I got to say. Put the guy in jail, right? He's running around with a gun. He's on probation. He knows that's against the law. Put him in jail now and get him away from us for at least a certain period of time, right? So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.